Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. We are the Middle-Aged Guys, and in this particular video, we are going to be talking about the Atari box and what we found out about it, which is just a little bit of information. All right, let's get our introductions out of the way. I'm the Reverend.
The Theme here,
and I'm Grey Mouse 1.
All right. Obviously, if you watch any of our videos, we know us as Middle-Aged Guys. We've been gaming ever since, I don't know, the late 70s for some of us. Yeah, some of my earliest memories are playing Pong on an original Pong machine back in like 1977, 1978. Yeah, as a little kid at one of my cousins' house in San Diego. Their parents were okay with that. My parents not so much. But even with the reservations that my parents had with video games and everything else, they were willing at one time to go ahead and buy us an Atari console, an Atari 2600. This was before their real big reservations started happening. All right, and for that reason alone, and for my own sense of nostalgia, I know Grey Mouse and the Theme both relate to this. Atari has a rather special place in my memories when it comes to video games. So over the last few months, when rumblings were going about that Atari may be actually coming back to making a brand new console and everything like that, it was something that, for the most part, piqued our interest. And the developments that have happened so far that people can confirm is that they set up a website and they sent out a newsletter, and the Atari CEO has been tweeting about things, and there isn't much else. Before I go on and monopolize the time too much, guys, what are your thoughts on this particular subject?
I already have an Atari box. No, but all seriousness, wow. I don't even know where to begin with this. Okay. Atari has been out of the game since the failure of the Jaguar. For those of you gamers that haven't been gaming for longer than, 10 years or anything like that, or you millennials that don't know what an Atari Jaguar is, there was an Atari Jaguar and Atari Jaguar CD, Atari's last attempt to throw their, name in the hat as far as the console wars back in the 90s. Didn't work out so well. Now they're going to try this again. They're going to try to throw their name in the hat again. There are certain concerns that I have with the Atari box just by looking at it, just by the pictures that have leaked out or that they have shown. And I'm going to, get to that in a bit. But Grey Mouse, what are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts is, I'm glad that Atari's coming back. Hopefully it comes back in a good way. Like I said, the Atari Jaguar was the last system that didn't do too well. I mean, there are those that are fans of the Atari Jaguar, but for the most part, it was definitely not a system that a lot of people knew about or even cared about. I think the pricing was part of that, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, just looking at the design, it's very nostalgic design. It has that, like what you said, it has that wooden look to it, like the 2600 did. But yeah, there are some things about it that kind of makes you scratch your head. But yeah, so those are my initial thoughts. I mean, more competition is good. It just depends on what that competition is going to be.
Generally speaking, I find myself a little torn on this. A lot torn.
If I say a little?
Yeah, a lot torn. To the point where, as a diehard geek, I would love to have another console to go ahead and own. In fact, if that console or the console makers, if it has the games that give me enough reason to go out of the way and actually own the console, then more than likely it's one of the things that I would like to spend my money on. As far as it goes, though, with this particular one, there's a few things that really, really concern me. I visual aesthetics and everything else, stuff that we could see is definitely on the box. It has, the grid lines. It has the Atari logo on it. There are 4 LEDs. Supposedly, I don't know if those are indicator LEDs for like controller ports or players hooked up to it. And we know that it comes with a faux wood grain finish and also a bright red finish. On the back, according to at least the concept photos that Atari themselves released, we've got 4 USB ports, a power port, an HDMI port, an Ethernet port, and an SD card slot. And that's pretty much it. As far as what is going on with the actual hardware, what's under the hood, there are no definite details. Okay. As far as the type of games and what they have licensed, there are no definite details. All right. The only thing that seems to be definite at this moment in time is that they want it out by October of this year because Atari licensed out their symbol to show up on the brand new Blade Runner 2049 movie that's coming out in October, and they want this box to release coinciding with that movie to go ahead and show up on shelves.
That's very interesting. You said October?
Yes.
That puts... Okay, go ahead, because that puts that other item a little bit more fishy to me. But go ahead.
But that's the only things that are concrete. Like I said, everything else is kind of really speculation and rumor right now. So as far as what's going on with this particular console, like I said, I'm really, really torn. I really, really am. I really want a reason to go ahead and own this thing, but before we get into some of the meatier bits, all right, but just in general as a gamer, what type of games are there going to be on there? Okay, because personally, when I sit there and I think about classic Atari games, stuff like Combat comes up, Jungle Hunt, but then you start getting into the fact that a lot of these were arcade ports from publishers. These games, these were IPs that Atari themselves didn't own. Namco was a really horribly licensed port and everything else. What type of games would you guys be considering, would want to see on this? I'll let you guys answer that while I let my cat out the door. Okay.
You know what? I would actually, I wouldn't mind seeing, I guess it was called Breakthrough back in those days.
Yeah.
A Combat, Asteroids. But again, the thing is, though, I've just named games that had arcade cabinets, and that was the whole appeal of the Atari back in those days, is that you could play those arcade cabinets home. That was the first home system,
quote unquote. Yeah,
that's why I hate those quote shits. But anyway, I mean, so I think I'm kind of like with you, Reverend. I mean, I'm excited, but I'm torn. It's just that we've seen systems that looked promising just fizzle and die out. Hello, Chameleon. Chameleon's looking at, Blico Chameleon. I'm just saying, and it's just that I don't know. I mean, what game are they going to put Call of Duty on this thing? I mean, it has an Ether cable to it. I mean, is it going to be stored on? Is your saves going to be stored on the box, or is it going to be a completely online only? Is it going to be? There's question marks, and if it's going to be out in October, last time I checked, this is the end of July. So let's see here. We got August, September. We got a lot of information to get in the next 3 months for somebody to go out and that's rumored. It's rumored in October. We don't know that. It hasn't. Haven't gone out and said dead set date. But okay, I rambled on. What about you, Theme?
Okay, look. As far as games are concerned, all right. Look, you guys are torn because of nostalgia, and I get that. I'm not torn at all. I'm just not, because the only successful Atari system that has ever came out is the one behind me, and that's the 2600. All the other Ataris didn't do well, if they even, quote unquote, did anything at all. As far as the games are concerned, you said, Grey Mouse just alluded to, what, is a Call of Duty is going to go on this thing? Yeah, it's called Combat. Let that shit be planes, tanks, and human. Why the fuck not? If Combat goes to that shit, why the fuck not? Look, fantastic. Look, if they make another Pitfall, which is Activision, I know, but Pitfall, okay. Lara Croft, Uncharted, Horizon, throw all that shit in a bundle and create Pitfall Harry again. One of the originals, okay? Have that shit come out. All right. Okay, look. I'm gonna try to. All right. As you look, you may not have noticed, but I was eating Rocky Road ice cream. How appropriate. This thing has a Rocky Road ahead of it, okay? For what the pictures that we've seen on this thing so far, four USB ports, of course, a power, an Ethernet port, and an SD card, and an SD card slot. There's no slots as far as we know, as far as, having, CD or disc type of games. Either this thing is going to work through the SD card slot, which I highly doubt, or the Ethernet port is going to play a big role into it as far as having this shit online. Remember, the Steam box was trying to have the same fucking concept. This, I'm afraid, may be the scapegoat. May be the one that's the sacrificial lamb for this online-only shit that Microsoft and perhaps Sony tried in 2013. This is my opinion here. Atari is going to bite this bullet for failure to tell these motherfuckers, hey, don't try that shit or else. An online-only console, that's my opinion. Now, wait. If, and I will completely put this on the table here, if this thing comes out and it's otherwise, and if it has good games on it, and if it has first party, and it has third party on it, then fuck yeah. Put me on the fucking list, and I will sit or stand in front of my belts and games and eat my fucking words if this thing is successful.
What is interesting is I feel that it's kind of going off the coattails of the Nintendo Switch, being how successful it is, being cartridge, quote unquote, cartridge based or SD card based. So, I mean, I know it's proprietary. No, I before you even, I know it's proprietary.
No, I'm not even just talking about proprietary. I think it's going off of more of the fact that I think the CEO of Atari knows that retro gaming is really, really big now. And guess what? A lot of the kids who grew up having an Atari 2600, guess what? They all have their own money, all right? They have their houses and they have expendable cash. Okay, it's just what's happened with the industry as a whole.
And now, wait a minute, we don't even know anything about price tag on this thing yet. And as Grey Mouse 1 said, 3 months until this thing comes out, allegedly.
Yeah, but if you're a media mogul with a brand name and you want to go ahead and make some money off of it, or try to go ahead and carve out a niche past mobile games, because generally speaking, that's what the company that owns Atari, the Atari brand, has been using Atari for like the past, I think, 5-10 years, was pretty much publishing games on mobile. All right, there was quite a few things that they published for. There was a handful of games that they published on the PS3 and the 360.
What about the Atari flashbacks?
Well, the Atari flashbacks. Here's the thing about the Atari flashbacks is that that's something that's just kind of licensed out, and they make money off of that regardless. Okay, they don't even have to sit there and really go ahead and market that thing or even put any sort of effort in it. Whoever it may be, as far as the flashback, the manufacturer of the flashback, if it's AT Games or Tectoy or something else, they're really just putting out a little box with ROMs on it and a video encoder, and an internal power supply for like $50. Guess what? There's really no big gain or loss either way. Okay. With this particular one, though, if we're considering consoles, the way that gamers consider consoles, as a box, a platform that we're going to have available in our house to connect up to our TV, where, you know, first party and third party companies are going to be able to provide entertainment media and games for us to go ahead and play on this box. You know, I'm having a real hard time trying to sit there and trying to figure out what can go on there without any sort of issues. Because you know, as far as a lot of the games, you know, when we mentioned the Jaguar and everything, I'm looking at a lot of games that were published by Atari, but a lot of them were licenses or ports of other games that were put out that were created by other publishers like, you know, id Software or Virgin Interactive. A lot of these publishers don't even exist anymore. I mean, Atari can't even go out of their way to sit there and they can't go to Valley Midway for fucking Defender or Missile Command.
I was just about to say, Midway's gone.
Yeah, they're gone. All that stuff's owned by Warner Brothers now. Okay, if they even do anything with any of that stuff. Okay, and so
Midway, Data East, fucking damn it.
No, I'm talking about, like, you know, the publishers that actually, you know, put things out or had things ported to the Atari. Nintendo has their own console, okay? So there's no way that Nintendo...
Still around.
Yeah, but the thing is, Activision, you know, unless something happens drastically, I don't know what's going to go on something like this that, you know, isn't going to be readily available for other platforms. You know what I'm saying?
Kaboom.
Which you can find on mobile, I believe. Actually.
Okay.
So, yeah, you know, it's really kind of hard to sit there and go out of your way to try to figure out what's going to go on there. What am I looking for? Tempest 2017, another Trevor McFur and the Crescent Galaxy #2. Is that what I have to look forward to?
Hey, they can remake and finish Sword Quest.
They could try to finish it, you know, if that's the case. But, you know, I'm asking this honestly because if I'm looking at the list of games that were released on the Jaguar, which wasn't very big in the first place, all right, you know, the ones that were owned by Atari directly, there wasn't that many. Club Drive? I'm looking at stuff like, oh, well, yeah, we got Hover Strike and Conquered Lands. Guess what? Looks like, I don't know if those actually came out. You know, there's a whole bunch of things. There's a whole bunch of blank spaces here that, you know, if we're trying to think about games, and that's what we want these consoles for, that are going to be kind of hard to fill up. You know what I'm saying?
This is going to be a big pile of doo-doo. Because, I mean, they probably don't even have rights to pole position. And that's one of the main games that the Atari 2600 was. Come on, man.
I think pole position was done by Namco, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Can Atari get the rights to that again?
No.
The IP isn't theirs.
The IP wasn't theirs to begin with.
No. I'm
they
talking
can remake their version of Pac-Man that went to this.
I'm not talking about getting rights for the game. I'm talking about having it on the system again is what I'm saying.
Okay, remake pole position and make it like a Ridge Racer or something. Okay, fine. I get what you're saying.
I think the thing is that if we're talking about stuff that's like the original ROMs, the Atari console ROMs and everything else, that's definitely something that Atari as a publisher has a hold of. They still control. If they're going to go out of their way, they can't make a new Defender. They can't make a new Pac-Man. They can't make a new Missile Command. That's just something that's obvious right now. You know? And unfortunately, with all of these questions, we've also got questions like, okay, beyond the games, specs, price, availability. Like I said, if they're really trying to push this to the forefront to try to get it marketed in right beside the brand new Blade Runner, 2049 movie that's coming out in October, that's barely 2.5 months away, it's really, really kind of hard to go out of your way and think that they're going to have the machines to go ahead and put this out by then. All right? Especially since if you go to the Atari Box website right now, All it is a teaser video and, spaces to sign up for email updates.
One thing is this, because I'm starting to have a stark reality check here, is that nostalgia is a powerful thing, but nostalgia could only go so far before common sense starts kicking in. And for this, the Atari box, there's red flags popping up everywhere. When you really start getting down, once you get past the rose-colored glasses, once you take those bad boys off, and you start looking at things from a different perspective, from outside of oh my god, my favorite toy's coming back type of standard. You're like, wait a minute, things don't add up here. Something's really wrong, and that red flag just goes up to the top of the pole. And I'm fearing that this is something that the red flag is at the top of it's at half mast right now.
Here's I think this is a real kicker. All right, and we spent a lot of time capitulating about this back and forth before we even started recording any sort of video for this particular one. Like we said at the beginning, a lot of the stuff that's out there, there's only a few things that are really concrete, all right, as far as what's been announced for this particular box. The one rumor, okay, well, the one tidbit of information, the possible tidbit of information that's popped up that is the biggest red flag for me, is that according to Eurogamer, Atari published out a newsletter to investors back in June that the Atari box was going to be crowdfunded. All right. Now here's the thing about crowdfunding. All right. And I'm going to say this quite honestly. All right. Unless you're an indie game publisher, if you're trying to put out physical product, you're putting out a niche product that you're not planning. Realistically, you can't sell more than a few million of. All right. Here's a pop question for you, boys and girls. What successful console has sold only just a few million of? If your answer in your mind, or if you're raising your hand out there and you're saying none, zero, yeah, you'd be completely correct.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we've talked about like Kickstarter and crowdfunding in our videos before. We probably see like a little link up here to what we talked about, Mighty Number 9 and other things, right? The thing about crowdfunding, and this is what really bothers me, if it's true. Unfortunately, the thing is that we'll have the link to the Eurogamer article below. All right, the link where they say that they have the investment letter and whatnot. It connects up to a mail service, and obviously, if you're connected up to that mail service, if you don't have an actual mail account, it won't show you the actual thing. It just shows what you see on the Atari box homepage, really. Okay, and what was released out to the folks who are subscribed to the Atari Box newsletter. But what crowdfunding means is that you have one of two things going on. All right. Number one, you have a publisher and manufacturer who does not have the funds to mass produce their own product. All right. That's number one. Mm-hmm. Or number two, you have a publisher or manufacturer who doesn't want to take the risk in investing the funds of mass producing their own product. Or, worst, both are true, all right? You have a publisher or manufacturer who doesn't have the funds readily available, neither do they want to take the risk, okay? And even if they want to take the risk and they go through crowdfunding, like I said, that just tells me that this manufacturer doesn't have the manufacturing power or abilities available to them to make this a mass-produced thing, all right? And if I'm looking at the back of the Atari box, you're telling me it has 4 USB ports, has an Ethernet port, has a power port, an SD card, and an HDMI out. You know what has that also and only costs $40? A Raspberry Pi. And if you want a home theater box and an emulation box all in one, you can get one of those. The only thing you're going to really spend a lot on is a big SD card.
Wow.
This, again, you know, I'm not trying to do, I'm just so disappointed. It's very disappointing knowing that this could possibly be a crowdfunding thing. But what I'm trying to understand, something's going on in my head here is that, do they have a working prototype? Is that what we're seeing in that 1.5 minute trailer? I know it's not showing anything, but I mean, the lights are coming on, and you know, I mean, something physically there. I don't think that's CGI. Could it be?
Well, yeah, they could easily have a Raspberry Pi board in a molded box, you know, that's hooked up to LEDs.
Totally. Yeah, and you know, like what we've been saying on this channel for the longest, since we even started the Middle Age Guys, was that it doesn't matter how powerful this system is. If it doesn't have games that are interesting that people want,
oh come on,
nowhere.
Oh come on. So the PC technology doesn't rip for change. Remember, the Jaguar was the most powerful console in its time.
Let me tell you something. PC technology, they could be using a 1980s Windows 90 freaking 7 OS.
And back then, and that still had better games than this generation.
I'm just saying that could still be PC. What would they call it? PC technology.
Yeah, and those games still could be good. It could be shit like Donkey Kong Country times.
I want to be, you know, I want to be excited about this. I do, but something in the back of my head is not allowed.
Come on, you're not excited about Cybermorph coming back. You're not excited. I can't even finish.
Dude, what? No.
Where did you learn to fly?
Oh my God!
That's what Cybermorph.
No, I know that little green. No,
Kasumi Ninja.
No, you're bringing back. My nostrils are starting to flare now.
Crowdfunded. Wow. Did you fund Atari today? Fuck. Crowdfunded console?
I really hope that it's not just a Raspberry Pi with a fucking Atari symbol
in a fancy fucking box. Yeah, in a fancy fucking box.
So they reshaped this thing and put the Raspberry Pi in it.
Which means it'll be this big, you know, and as big as a fucking cell phone.
I was about to say, we don't even know the size of the console yet. I mean, yes, it has the 4 Ethernet ports, so okay, maybe about.
I think it's gonna size. I don't think it's going to be that small.
Oh, I don't think. Well, the fucking Ethernet.
It's probably about big as this.
Ports kind of give that away. That's not going to be.
Yeah,
that
I mean, it'll probably be the size
like this.
Yeah, it could be about the same size as a Switch. A lot thicker, obviously, but you know, like I said, this is what.
So by E3 2018, you can expect Atari to put their hat in the VR. I can't even finish that either without chuckling.
And like I said, you know, folks, this is what really tears me about it. And here's the thing: I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna say right now, you know, definitively, I said. The information on this is very, very scarce. Here's my final thought on it, really, okay, is that, look, Atari hasn't, let me put it this way. The Jaguar was discontinued back in 1996. Okay? And then Atari as a brand name was published a little bit later in the early 2000s by a French company, the company that owned Infogrames, to go ahead and purchase a brand name so that they could start publishing, you know, online software with the brand. They started actually releasing console games in the mid-2000s. They did a few, but then they dropped out of that to go ahead and do mobile games, all right? now you're telling me that they want to go ahead and do, they want to enter the very, very fucking busy hardware console fray. They want to jump into the middle of the console wars.
Back in, yeah.
Okay, they want to go ahead and say, Atari is back, bitches, with a crowdfunding fucking console.
Yep.
You know what? I just thought of something very cynical. They fucking destroyed the gaming industry back in 1982.
They did, or it being oversaturated with garbage?
Atari fucking destroyed the industry.
They definitely had their toe in that, okay?
And so if they're trying to throw their hat back into the gaming industry, I think that and alone, people at our age remember that shit.
I told you that they're going to be the guinea pig. They're going to be the scapegoat and then some garbage.
And, you know, that thought just came to my mind. I was like, wait a minute here. You know.
And no bullshit about it, folks. We are not, like I said at the beginning of this fucking video, we're not the folks who are sitting there saying, no, don't give us anything new. What the fuck would we want that for? Or no, we don't want to see any of our, our childhood memories come back and actually succeed. Shit, I'm wearing a fucking Sega shirt, all right? Where the fuck is the Dreamcast 2? All right? Seriously.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait, do any of you own a Jaguar? Did any of the middle-aged guys own a Jaguar or ever owned a Jaguar?
I couldn't afford it.
Nope.
I'm just saying.
Wait, you're talking to someone that had original Neo Geo. I could afford it, but no.
At one time, I would have, but at this moment in time, I've got a telephone that actually works. Okay, thank you.
I'll emulate that shit, dude.
Well, damn. Like I say, okay, USB ports. Is it gonna accept any type of controller, or is it gonna have their own?
I think the USB...
Wait. You better not. You better not have fucking controllers that look like phones. No, you better not fucking do that. You better not have it to an Ethernet port and fucking no. Fucking
Engage says hello.
No, you better not fucking do that.
No, the USB
ports, big fucking phones, just like the Jaguar there. Don't have fucking overlays.
The USB ports could be the hard drives.
No, they're getting fucking in touch with the true nostalgic form. You better not have fucking overlays. You better not have big fucking phone controllers. You better not have a fucking joystick with one fucking button on it so we can play Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Fucking no, you better not fucking do that.
The USB ports are for the hard drives, man. The external hard drives. Because there's going to be no hard drive on it. You know that. You know that.
So where's all your DLC storage going to go?
On Seagates. I'm just saying. Okay.
Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that we have to mull over when it comes to this particular one. And all cynicism aside, folks, if you're watching this video and you've come all the way up to this point, thank you very much, by the way, if you've stuck with us so far. And these questions that we went ahead and we brought up isn't isn't in the sense of cynicism and sarcasm and everything else. These are actual questions that a lot of people online are readily asking. They're posting about, and guess what? Unfortunately, they aren't getting any information back right now.
Nope.
No. But what we really want to know, folks, is what do you think of the Atari box? What do you think about Atari even skirting and announcing that they may be coming into the whole hardware thing again? We would like to know. You can tell us by leaving a comment below. While you're at it, mash on that like button. And if you really like what we do, if you like what we've done with this particular video and you want to stick around, please subscribe. We ask you to do that. I think that's pretty much it. Was there anything else that we want to throw on this file?
No. I mean,
it's already a smelling turd now. I mean, you can't.
And folks, it's not like we don't want, like the Reverend said, it's not like we don't want shit to come out and for shit to be successful. No, but nothing is free of criticism. Nothing gets away from skepticism. It's just the fact that, look, we have to look into the reality of the situation and announce and talk about what we know and give our opinions about it. If you have any other opinions, if you think that this is going to be good, please comment below. I would like to fucking hear it. Please.
With that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring this particular video to an end. Unless you got something on the tip of your tongue, Gray Mouse?
Yeah, I do. Make sure you hit the bell be part of the notification squad. We haven't been saying that, but yeah, because that way that way you could get notification that we made another video.
Gray Mouse with the PSA. Thank you very much, sir. Just like that. Remember, hold hands with your brothers and sisters when you cross the street, too. Don't take candy from strangers and all that other stuff.
No, and remember, dick licking plus animals equals the mix.
With that, let's go ahead and end this particular video.
That's my PSA.
We've been bullshitting about the Atari box for like the past almost 40 minutes, folks. Yeah, and we're going to end that bullshit right here. I'm the Reverend
Theme here.
I'm Gray Mouse 1.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming. And for this one, every form of entertainment has the right to exist even if you don't like it. Both of those apply here. Credits.